I want to bring in now from Capitol Hill a member of the House Intelligence Committee, Democratic Congressman Mike Quigley of Illinois. Congressman, it's great to have you back on the show. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. And I know you are limited in what you can say, but I just want to ask if you would like to respond to this claim that there was some kind of a misinterpretation here.
Here's what's clear. I was first briefed that the Russians were attacking the election process in 2016, almost 4 years ago. Right. And the first state they hacked into was my own state, Illinois. January 2017, we were briefed that by the unanimous intelligence community that the Russians did this, and they did it to help one candidate and hurt another, helping candidate Trump. Nothing I have seen since then being briefed in that 3.5-year period has altered that course of what the Russians are doing. And the president's own people have talked about those threats. On his way out the door, DNI Coates said the warning lights are still flashing red. Nothing has changed under this administration other than the administration attacking his own intelligence community, not pushing back on the Russians' efforts.
Is there some nuance that people might be missing here? There's always nuance when it comes to intel assessments, of course, but Is there something along the lines of perhaps active interference versus sort of passive watching or waiting or something along those lines?
Well, look, it's a three-pronged attack that they did in 2016, and it's something that they're continuing to do. They weaponized social media, they hacked in Dump that we're all too familiar with, and they hacked into state board of elections. The majority of states they hacked into. The fact that they didn't get into the voting machines yet shouldn't make anyone feel comfortable. I was the sponsor of $800 million worth of funding to help our states meet this threat. So nuance or not, the threat is real. And on a bipartisan basis, we shouldn't be dealing with that nuance. We should be addressing the threat. We're probably only about a quarter away of that funding. And look, we can inoculate ourselves against what the Russians did, but it's more on a bipartisan basis, trying to deal with the polarization that exists in our country, reminding us that there's more that unites us than divides us, and not letting the Russians do this.
There's also, of course, this issue of who's going to take over as DNI, right, and permanently. Sure. And there are some names that are in the mix for this. We've heard some discussion around, including, for example, John Ratcliffe, Pete Hoekstra. Your response to either of those men, if they were to be named by the president as his pick for DNI?
I think you have to preface all that with the fact that it's been a revolving door. Admiral McRaven wrote an excellent op-ed this week that said if good people like McGuire and those before, Coates, McMaster, Gordon, and Mattis, get shown the door because they disagree with the president, then we should all be very much afraid. We rely on the truth, however uncomfortable it is, to keep us safe. So that's my first concern. And the fact that the names you mentioned, apparently personal loyalty is all that matters, not experience. It is a dangerous world. Intelligence and the intelligence community should not be a partisan matter. This should be about experience. Someone shouldn't come in and get sort of on-the-job training when we're facing the threats that we face on an ongoing basis.
Congressman Mike Quigley of Illinois, lots to talk about this morning.